I eventually got to a point in my life where I couldn't even look in a mirror without my brain trying to tell me that I was fat. So no matter how much weight I lost or how much weight I put on, it was never good enough. It was always this battle between my mind and my heart and my body to fight food. I feared food. I feared coming home from being at school to go into the cupboard and, oh, there's a box of Kraft dinner. Well, it says 4 servings on the box. No, it was my serving. The whole box was my serving. And it comforted me, and then all of a sudden, as soon as that was gone, I had to reach for something more. It just never stopped. I would eat and eat and eat until my stomach was killing me. I felt I was gonna throw up, and I hated myself horribly. It got to a point where I got suicidal. It got to a point where I was desperate. I blamed everybody except myself, and I didn't know what to do. As I got older, I realized that if I wanted to be able to have some form of peace with myself, I would have to reach in deep and seek help from somebody else. So I started to research, and I started to go on the internet, and I heard, I knew about Al-Anon because I'd gone to Al-Anon, and because my father being an alcoholic, I had traumas from that. So I thought, well, what other way to treat another type of trauma, with my own self-trauma, was to find specific help for me. So I joined OA. Overeaters Anonymous became a part of my salvation. It became a huge part of my transition to where I am today. And it became a stepping stone for my awakening in my spirituality. I couldn't do it alone, though. I was so ashamed of my behavior. I put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off. And eventually, what happened was, I came home one day, and I was struggling with my relationship that I was in. And I reached for a can of Pringles. And I sat there, and I kept just shoveling in. And I started to cry over this can of Pringles. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I went to the phone, I picked up the phone, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, I'm ready to go, will you please go with me? So we went. Well, I hated being in that room. I hated the people there, I hated what they said, I hated the realization that I had a compulsive binging disorder. I hated myself, I hated what everybody was talking about. I was angry. How dare they say I eat like that? How dare they say I have to keep coming back and admitting that I eat like this? But guess what? Like they always promote, keep coming back. And I kept going, and I kept going. And as I worked the steps, something happened inside me. I could feel this shift, and I started to take more responsibility for myself. I started to apply their slogans of live and live, let it begin with me. So many other wonderful, let go and let God, right? And I thought, oh wow, I've really found salvation here. This is wonderful. But as I started to do the steps, and I was going through all the dark parts of my life and admitting all the wrongs I did and having to apologize to all the people I'd hurt, and actually turning to myself and looking in the mirror and going, wow, you're not that 12-year-old anymore. You can't reach for that jar of peanut butter if you want to have a good life and get to the dreams you have and have a healthy relationship with your family, with your, a partner, with your children. I've suffered PTSD symptoms all my life. Post-traumatic stress disorders is horrible. And my eating disorder was a result of the traumas I've had in my life. Sexual abuse, neglectful parents, estranged from my children for over 16 years. I've had trauma upon trauma upon trauma, and I was not forgiving of myself to know that I should be gentle with myself. So what if I got in the food? So back to my OA days, admitting all these things that I was going through and facing them and going through them, I came to the realization that I couldn't do it. I was still not there where I could say I loved myself. And I crashed. I crashed badly. I was homeless. I ended up without a job. I ended up in Canadian Mental Health Association, rent a room there. Thank God I had a roof over my head. And I just had to start from bottom. And you know what? Hitting that bottom was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it made me realize I couldn't keep relying on food, and I couldn't keep relying on other people helping me. I had to finally look deep, deep, deep inside of me and go, I need to learn to love myself. And I went on this journey, and I started exercising, and I started reading about food, and I started reading about other people's journeys, and I started to get this foothold that felt safe and complete. And I really thought, wow, I can change, I can learn, I can grow. And I did. And I left OA because it got to a point where I felt like all we were doing was rehashing everything over and over again, and I needed something more. And then I got into spirituality, and I got into yoga, and I got into meditation, and I got into socializing with people that had other thoughts besides food, and besides being depressed, and besides being complaining all the time. And I got involved with positive people that were changing their lives. And I went down this road, and I couldn't turn back, and it was amazing. So today I'm very grateful that I stood without attention so many years before that fridge and the cupboard. And yes, today I still have infrequent binges. And I will, actually, this past Saturday, I said to myself, you know what, Annette? You deserve a break, because I eat very healthy now. And I said, you know what, you're gonna have a popcorn, you're gonna have a chocolate bar today, and you're gonna have a movie day, and you're just gonna enjoy this food and not beat yourself up. I used to beat myself up every day. This repeated cycle went around and around and around. And learning to love myself was the most important thing. It taught me to let go of perfection. There's a common theme here tonight. It taught me to let go of fear. It taught me that I'm not alone in this big, beautiful planet, and that I have a message for people that I could share that could help one soul, and at one soul at a time. This is my mission in life. I'm an artist now. I have a published coloring book. I would have never gone down that path if I hadn't cleared my head and my heart and my soul from the food. If I was still in the food today, I would still be in deep, deep depression. And now my depression is like a hiccup, and then I can carry on. So I'm gratefully reunited with my children. They're moving back to Canada, and facing my fears and letting go of perfection, embracing change, and taking it one day at a time has made me reach such beautiful goals and have a beautiful life. Thank you.